and go live to Paris, where the opening match will be taking place later today. Our sport editor, Vaylen Kirtley, is there. Vaylen, how is the situation there? Is it getting busier as we edge closer and closer to kickoff of the 2023 Rugby World Cup?
Thank you very much, Benjamin. Yes, it is very busy. Where I'm standing right now is the Champs-Élysées. Just at the top is the Arc de Triomphe. And when you tried to cross to me earlier, I actually had the Arc in frame. But I had to move out of the sun because the situation in Paris, from the time that we arrived, is incredible heat. If you think today is going to reach a high of 38 degrees Celsius, kickoff, which is 9 o'clock, 9:15 tonight, at the Stade de France in Saint-Denis, it's going to be 30 degrees. That's the heat that's expected. Now, just remember, the All Blacks are coming out of winter, just like South Africa. In the Southern Hemisphere, we're all coming out of cold temperatures. Many of the South Africans, certainly myself, when we landed, we really did feel the heat. It is very, very humid here in Paris. But it's very busy, as you would expect, of a global tourist destination. But you're starting to see the excitement build up, a lot more rugby fans actually coming out, and lots of people being behind their team, Le Bleu, and hoping that they will, in fact, go one better than 3 finals and 3 silver medals and finally win it on home soil in 2023. Quick fact for you, Ernst van der Pont, who was the 2021 World Rugby Player of the Year, he's had 18 tests as captain and he's never lost a home test. There's going to be a lot of pressure on tonight, but according to Craig Ray, he says that you've got to back the hosts.
And you've got to back the host, Vaylen, because particularly they'll be playing in front of a buoyant Stade de France crowd. Are you seeing, as you look around, those already making their way to the venue to try and make sure that they get into their seats early enough? I know it's still in the morning hours, but you might find those who don't want to be standing on long queues and everything like that.
Yes, certainly. I mean, we have been advised by World Rugby, and with the kickoff and the opening ceremony just a short while before kickoff at 9:15 this evening, that we need to be at the stadium by no later than 4:30. So certainly from this afternoon, all roads are going to lead to the Stade de France, which is about 25 minutes from where we are in central Paris, which is where I'm standing at the moment on the Champs-Élysées.
Vaylen, I understand you also had a chat with some of the journalists, those who follow the game of rugby quite closely, talking about the tournament, the opening game, and everything that's going to be happening where you are.
Yes, so I got the opportunity to chat to the sports editor of Daily Maverick. He's a rugby journalist. He also was the ghostwriter behind Jake White's book, and he tells a fantastic story about how he managed to get the book. He was still busy writing the last chapters of the book when the Springboks won the last time that the World Cup was played here in France. And he actually backs the French team to secure victory over the All Blacks. This is incredibly important for South Africa because you'll know that Group A and Group B are on the same side of the draw. So what happens in Group A, and of course what South Africa managed to do in Group B, will largely determine what will happen in the quarterfinals. Let's take a listen to what Craig Ray had to say about tonight's match.
It's going to be a tough one. I think France, my gut feel is France will win, but they've got a very good side. 80,000 home support is going to be pretty epic. But of course, New Zealand are a fantastic side, but we saw a few weaknesses and cracks in armour when the Springboks took them apart a few weeks ago. And the French side's very good. They've got their injury problems, but I expect France to sneak this one. Ultimately, though, it's not going to matter to Pool A. Both sides will advance. But New Zealand have never lost a pool game in Rugby World Cup history. They've won 31 out of 31 pool games. So they've got that record to protect.
So understanding the importance of what happens in Group A for what happens for the Springboks later on in the tournament, Craig Ray says the South African technical team will be watching this match this evening, but who wins or who doesn't really won't be of too much interest to them.
Yeah, the Springboks can't really control what happens there, and they're great ones at saying that, and that's their mantra. They'll control what they can control, and that is playing Scotland on Sunday and hopefully winning that game. You can't. You saw what happened in the last World Cup. Japan made it through, and the Springboks played Japan in the quarterfinal. So you can't legislate for these things. You've just got to beat what's in front of you. And I think the Springboks take a simple approach. What will be in the quarterfinals if we get there. We've first got to get there. So that's, you can't think too far ahead. They can't slip up against Scotland because suddenly the quarterfinals aren't really a possibility then. So I think they won't worry about it. They'll watch it out of interest and as rugby people and obviously a bit of analysis, but I don't think they'll really care who wins.
Benjamin, you speak a lot about the fans at the Rugby World Cup, the fans that we've managed to see around Paris, and it's because it is the fans that bring the colour to sport, but also because at the last Rugby World Cup that was hosted by France in 2007, which the Springboks lifted their second world crown, the number of spectators reached the 2 million mark for the very first time. Since then, it's only been done when the Rugby World Cup went back to rugby's spiritual home in England in 2015. Some say that's the reason why South Africa lost out to bidding to host the 2023 Rugby World Cup. Remember, we were also in the running along with Ireland to defeat France as host of this event. But for World Rugby, the surplus, the amount of money that was made from the World Cup in 2007 broke all records at the time. And what does that mean? That means that the global game of rugby can reach even further. So they're hoping for something similar and to break even more records here in France.
All right, Vaylen Kirtley, we're going to have to leave it there because of time.